Good morning, gang. Good morning. Welcome back to this week's altcoin update. First and foremost, remember nothing discussed today is financial advice. This is just for educational purposes only, and it's my view of the markets. And now we got that out of the way, let's jump into the chart. So today we're gonna take a recap of last week's video, which was LPT and FET or FET. And then from popular request, we're going to look at FTM and ETH. So obviously, if you guys want an altcoin featuring next week, either A, leave a comment down in the description below, or B, go over to our Twitter and make sure you follow us. And on a Monday afternoon, we always put up a altcoin request tweet. So yeah, or X or tweet or whatever they're called these days. Either way, right, so let's jump into it. So starting off with LPT, let's bring back the tier. Obviously, initially the move we were talking about was why we had shorted in this region here, which is obviously stemming back to this sticky zone here. Again, if you missed that, then go watch last week's video. And then what we were looking for at the time, so at the time, this is the 4-hour chart, which I believe is the same one as this here. We were hovering down here, and I was saying I wouldn't mind these lows to be taken straight into the point of control. And if we do get a good reaction at the point of control, then we can be looking to take that back up to the sticky zone, the high volume node. And if we zoom in, we can see exactly what happened. We came down, we slightly took out point of control, swing failure pattern, and then we had a nice bounce. And where did we bounce up to? Exactly onto the high volume node. Okay, so if you caught that and you were currently short, you had a nice take profit here. You had an opportunity on a lower time frame to get into a long, played that long up to the high volume node, the sticky zone, and then once again we got a nice rejection. Okay, so even if you weren't in our members group to catch this short here, you still had two very good trades out of that. So if you caught that, well done. And yeah, we'll move on to the next. So obviously from here, what we can be looking at, let's just delete some of this now. Now, what I'm going to be looking at here is A, this has now taken these lows. If this starts to find strength and change market structure locally, then we can be looking back up. Okay, this isn't my preferred option, being honest. Okay, if we do start to come back up, then this is, again, thin and efficient move. Not much volume involved, so we can start looking back up towards these highs. If it starts getting above these highs, then we start to contest higher. Okay? However, based on structure at the moment, we're still in a local downtrend. So if we do continue to roll over and lose these lows, now bear in mind this here is not a short for me, because why would you short quite clear local range lows? You'd just be a fool. You don't short lows just like you don't long highs. Okay, but if it does start to roll over here, then we'll start looking back down towards this region here. If it comes back down towards this region here, do we get a change in structure after running this liquidity, or do we let it roll down further into the origin of the move, which we can see here? We've got a high volume node all by itself. Okay, so this whole zone down here to me is appealing. Okay, but that's on the assumption that this doesn't hold. If this does hold, then you got a long trigger. Okay, but once again, I reiterate that this here, just get rid of some of this, this here is a thin, inefficient move in itself. Okay, so if we do start to lose this, then this will come down fairly aggressively. Okay, so it's just a word of warning. So anyone that's longed any of these bottoms here, the stop losses are going to be down here, obviously, and once they get triggered, then we get a cascade effect. Okay, thin and efficient move. So that's LPT. Not much of an update. Okay. FET, the trade that we talked about, played out very, very nicely. And in the end, we actually went even lower than what I was looking for. We ended up triggering all these stops here. And this, you've heard me talk about this time and time again. Oops, I didn't mean to go back that far. When you get this kind of grinding price action that's like this, and then pump up, price starts to come down to it, each one of these lows has its own stop loss cluster. Okay, so you start coming back below this and triggering these stop losses. Because all these stop losses are so tied to each other, then you just get this cascade effect and it goes straight through. Okay, and what happened in the end, just bring that volume profile, we started getting through them, and then we just dropped straight through them. And in the end, we ended up taking out these stops, okay, before a good bounce to the upside. Okay, so where we are right now, we're in no man's land. Let's just get rid of some of this stuff. We're in no man's land. Okay, so Profits locked in on this. Obviously, if you did catch that low from the overall swing fairly pattern of the lows, then well played. That was a good trade. I personally didn't take it, but yeah, if you caught that, well done. Now, what can we look for next? Okay, well, if we zoom out, if we continue to roll over again and we come back down to contest these lows, okay, then we can be looking at potentially that drop lower. Okay, we do have some volume here to look out for, which is around what, 15 cents, call it, for easy numbers. Okay, so if that gives us a reaction, then great, you've got a long opportunity there. If that doesn't give us a reaction, then we're looking back down towards this old range. Okay, this old range down here. Okay, I'm not overly bullish, I'm not overly bearish in this range. Okay, until we get some clarity, until these lows are either taken with volume, okay, or we start changing market structure and getting up here on a higher term time frame. Okay, bear in mind we're looking on a daily chart here. Okay, for me right now, we are just stuck within this range. Okay, and until that breaks, we long the lows, we short the highs. Okay, very simple. Right, so that's that. FTM, we had this requested. It's probably the easiest update we can do because it's the same range we've been looking at for quite some time now. Okay, same range. Let's just get rid of this old volume profile here. Okay, same range. All we've done is we've rotated. So the range was created down here. Okay, so we've got the range lows, we've got the range highs. Okay, got a slight deviation to the lows here. Great liquidity grab, taking the liquidity from these, which then caused the pump to the upside. Now, these range highs didn't give us much resistance. However, one of the outer deviations of our range fib tool did. Okay, and then obviously that's what triggered our short position. Okay, then quite simply, all we're doing is we're trading the higher time frame range. Okay, so what we've done is we came down to the point of control initially, had a very nice bounce from the point of control. Okay, back up towards range EQ. Couldn't quite get to range EQ because we're maintaining these lower highs. Okay, maintaining these, so we're still in a downtrend. Okay, no matter what some people lead you to believe, we're still in a downtrend. Okay, and now we've come into range lows. Now the range low happened on Thursday, which is obviously when the rest of the market dropped. Okay, and since then we've had an okay bounce. You know, 18% bounce. You know, if you caught that play from range lows / value area low, you had a nice trade there. Okay, lower time frame. I'm looking on the daily chart here. Okay, so what am I looking for now? Okay, either A, this starts to break some structure, gets back above this level here, and continues up. Okay, then you've got long triggers. Okay, so you get back above this level, then you're waiting for that pullback to get involved, and then again you are just trading this range. Okay, with the focus being on EQ, value area high, range high. Okay, there'd be your target zones if structure changes on a higher time frame. If structure doesn't change and we continue with these lower highs, then we're in trouble and we're likely going to roll over further. Okay, so what happens then if we start to roll over? Well, if we start to roll over, then we've got, first and foremost, these lows here are a major target because once again, just like when these lows took out these lows, liquidity. Okay, so we can say the same thing about these. If we come down here, grab these lows, then start to change, great, you've got yourself a long trigger. But once again, you want to see that structure changing locally. If that doesn't cause any reaction, okay, then we're going onto log scale so we can zoom out even more. Then we're looking for lower prices, okay? Now, the reason why I quite like these lows being targeted is because that would then take us into this last sticky zone here. Now, once again, this isn't my perfect sticky zone, okay? Because if you look at this price action like we just discussed on FET, you got this grinding action. Okay, so we know there's going to be stop losses there. Okay, but if this volume cluster does hold, well, let's just throw it on. Here we go. To here. Let's see if we can drag that out a little bit further. No, we can't. Okay, so we've got some volume here. If that doesn't hold, which then would give us the swing fairly pattern, then sadly, we're going to be looking at a larger drop on our hands. Okay. And by a larger drop, I mean coming down probably to the outer deviation here, at least, coming into this volume cluster here, this range. Okay, got a bigger range. If we just zoom this back to here, you can see there you go. There's your range that you're coming back into. Okay, so that would be a rather large drop from where we are right now. Okay, now you might think that I'm being overly bearish or overly bullish, but all I'm doing is pointing out the clear sticky zones, the clear support. If these lows are lost without any form of deviation or swing failure pattern, then you are looking to drop down to these sort of zones here. Okay, because once again, thin and inefficient. We're looking on the daily time frame here. Okay, so that's only if this doesn't happen. Okay, well, what if we start going up? Okay, well, in that case, if we start going up from here, take out these, like I said, aiming, aiming, aiming. You start clearing above these, then we start to look at contesting the overall highs. Okay, and if we start to contest the overall highs, then we can look at the key levels once again. Okay, so we've got a key zone here. Okay, do we get above that? Get another swing failure pattern? Great, there's a short trade, okay, or a take profit on your longs, or both, to hedge your position. Okay, hedging's great. If it starts getting above that, then we can start looking at the next sticky zone, which would be this sticky zone here. Okay, my preference would be this overall high, but you got sticky zone here. Okay, and we're just playing level to level. Once again, I've said this many, many times on altcoin videos and Bitcoin videos. Okay, until these are taken without this kind of price action, then we're still in previous sticky zones. Okay, what do I mean by that? Well, quite simply, just throw on a volume profile and you can see. Okay, we've got point of control here. We've got this high volume cluster here. Okay, you start getting above this, it thins out. Then you got more high volume here. Starts getting above this, it thins out. Then you got more high volume up here. Okay, until you start clearing this, we've still got levels of resistance to contend with. Okay, so it's not just a case of long and forget and hope for all-time highs, because until this downtrend is broken, you know, your chance of upside is very limited. Okay, so that's why I'm doing that. And to address anyone else questioning this, am I shorting down here? No. Okay, so why would you short range lows? I'm still short from higher. Okay, I'm not going to short range lows. Okay, I'm going to look for longs at range lows or take profits on shorts. Okay, if it continues to drop further, I'll let my short continue. Okay, so that's that. Now finally, ETH. ETH's been an absolute pleasure trade. Obviously, a quick recap. You can go back and watch a few weeks ago's videos. We're talking about why we were looking for longs here and why we were looking for shorts here after taking out these highs into the liquidity. Okay, and what I said on this last update is if this level is lost, then we can look at quite a significant drop. Chances are to target the liquidity below these lows. Now what happened? We grabbed the liquidity below these lows. Okay, so I'm still sat in my shorts on ETH. Okay, so there's no reason to close them until we start changing some sort of structure to the upside. I'm still sat in shorts. Okay, so what am I expecting here? If, and this is a big if, we can hold outside of this value area high. Okay, and start to change some structure locally on a lower term time frame. Okay, then we can start looking at filling this big inefficient move. Okay, if we do that and we manage to start clearing above these highs here, then we can start looking at back up towards range highs. Okay, if we start getting back up towards range highs, then we've got another chance for an SFP of this high, or we start to look at this volume cluster here, and if that offers no resistance at all, then we're likely going higher. Okay, but this is all dependent on this level holding. Okay, it's very dependent on that. If this level doesn't hold, and we start to roll over, filling out this wick, but without filling out the wick and a pullback, then we start targeting these lows. Okay, range EQ, these lows. Okay, we know that there's resting liquidity under there. So if you come down here and you don't get that SFP / failed rally, okay, if you don't get this, then we can start looking down lower towards point of control and then towards value area low, effectively taking out these lows. Okay, so they're your opportunities for a long. Either come down here, take out these, get that nice change in market structure to the upside, liquidity grab, then you got your longs. Okay, where we are right now, I'm not really interested in longing. Okay, the long opportunity would have been down here in a lower term time frame. Okay, but for me, I didn't do that because I was too busy watching Bitcoin. Okay, but if we could start come down here and then changing some structure, then yeah, I'll get involved happily. Okay, So that's it. Nice and easy for ETH. Once again, lose these lows, lose this wick low, then we're looking back into EQ and this. If that doesn't give us a trade setup, then looking back down at the point of control. Start moving to the upside, start getting beyond this level, then we can start talking about range highs once again. Okay, very simple, level to level. All right, that'll do. If you've learned something today, hit that like button, and don't forget to let us know down in the description what altcoins you want covering on the next update. And until next time, gang, as you were, bye-bye.